Hey everybody, welcome. Just give the stream a second to catch up here. How y'all doing? It's Tuesday. It's time for an adventure prep stream. How is everybody? Quick shout out to Hunter Fox, brand new patron Hunter Fox, who is unable to make it. But thanks for popping in and saying hi. I do agree with David's suggestion though that we should just invite the rest of the meeting. You know, bring them all in. How you doing, David? Thanks for coming. Yeah, it's Tuesday, like I said, and we are, this is the week of Timothy, as I'm calling it. I am going to do everything that I can this week to stay on task and make content and get everything ready. So in the spirit of that, Tuesday, we're doing well so far. We had a good Monday, pretty good Tuesday. I've got a couple more blocks of work to do today, and then I've gotten 2 days down, and then I'm taking Wednesday off. Yeah, but what's going on, everybody? Tuesday is adventure prep. I've got a session on Friday for my Witchlight campaign, which I'm calling Wild Green Yonder. They are rapidly approaching the edge of the content that I have already prepared, so it is time to look ahead in the book and see what we have next. And that is the Bullywug town of Downfall. So the characters have, I think a couple streams ago we talked about Hither, the kind of first of the three Feywild like realms that they explore, kind of the flooding swamp. Is it starting or ending? It's starting, Euchre Wolf. Welcome. Come on over. We literally just began moments ago. And so boy, my train of thought went right off the cliff there. Oh, they're exploring Hither, and they've been to most of the locations so far. So they have been to the Slanty Tower, and they've been to the like I think Telemi Hill, the hill full of keys, and now they are going to go confront Agden Longscarf at the Brigand's Tollway. Once they're done there, then they will go and go to Bevlorna Blightstraw and figure her out. David says, I'm also trying to have a productive week. So far, so good. Yeah, we're doing great, David. We'll keep each other accountable. That's how this will work. So what needs to happen next is we need to get the party from Brigand's Tollway to Downfall. And there isn't like a great narrative. I might actually go back and look and see what the narrative bridge is supposed to be there. I think the narrative bridge that I have is that they are pursuing the Witchlight Carnival. The carnival has come back into... in my campaign, the carnival then retreated back into the Feywild, and it sort of did like a weird Coraline switcheroo with all of the players' parents. The players are all children, and their characters are all children, and it kind of like swapped them, right? And so they are going into the Feywild trying to track down their parents, who have been kind of kidnapped by the carnival, and they are currently working with Sir Talivar, who is the little tiny fairy dragon. And he claims to know where the Witchlight Carnival went, but won't help them unless they help free him. And they need the key to do that, and I have it, so that way Agden Longscarf has the key, and it's a whole big complicated thing. So I think, basically, the way it works in Witchlight is that the different little fracture realms, Hither and Thither and Yon, are separated by this weird mist, and then only certain creatures can pass through the mist, like minions of the three hags. And so the characters need to get a guide who can take them through. I believe in the text, it's a scarecrow named Clapperclaw, but I have an NPC who I actually have listed here in my notes named Wigglewog. Yeah, Wigglewog. Wigglewog? Willywog? It might be Willywog. I forget now. Who in the text dies... But I have him still alive, and he is basically like a bullywug that ostensibly works for Bevlorna, but is an ally of Sir Talivar. So he might be a potential option for the guide to take them to the next domain, and that's where the carnival went. The carnival went into Thither, which is the adjacent forest domain. So I think that's my transition. All of that out of the way, basically what we're going to do today is we're going to read through the description of Downfall, and we're going to see what I like about it, what's cool, what can we use, what can we not use, what do we want to change to make it more in line with the campaign that I'm running and just make it more fun. Great. So the first things first, I'm not a big fan of Downfall as a name. I feel like it's a little bit... it's either A, too dramatic, or B, kind of boring. Like, it doesn't really grab me. I'm not really sure what it's sort of like playing on right? Like just downfall. I mean, even like deadfall would at least be like a play on, you know, wood and stuff like that. But downfall just feels like a word. I'm not sure why it's called that. I mean, I'll maybe read it and see. I know that there's like some courtly intrigue stuff, but I will probably end up changing it. I was toying with something a little bit more colorful, like I like bog bottom or like sog bottom, you know, like something that feels kind of you know, fart related almost, that like that it's very childish, right? So like I kind of like bog bottom. Sog bottom has a nice ring to it as well. But if you guys have any ideas for what we could maybe name this kind of like swamp town, because there's like the soggy court, right? So calling it Sog Bottom also feels interesting. So let's see. Downfall is Lorna's home in the murky swamp of Hither. The settlement consists of a collection of outbuildings and ruins surrounding the hag's monstrous cottage. Courtly bullywugs, all beholden to Lorna, reside in Downfall. Lorna rarely leaves the confines of her cottage, which contains her preservation pod. Oh, what is that? As well as her treasures and her chimeric taxidermy creations. I like to hear that. That sounds cool. The water in and around Downfall is always high. Thick fog hangs over all outdoor areas, limiting visibility to 20 feet. Okay. Where is she? She's encountered the hag in her study. After that, she's free to move around, though she won't leave her cottage without good reason. Okay. So she's kind of your end boss, right? The Soggy Court. Sallow Swamp is kind of cool. I like sallow is another good word. Sallow Swamp. Sallow Swamp. The Foggy Court is a community of neutral bullywugs who have an overdeveloped sense of grandeur, right? They are preoccupied with pomp and courtesies, and they possess an insatiable lust for courtly intrigue. That's cool. I like that. A monarch presides over the group, though regime changes are frequent and often bloody. The current leader is Gullup the 19th, I think, if I know my Roman numerals, who won the throne by boiling his predecessor, Molup the 18th, in oil. Is that... Oh no, Molup the 16th. Yeah, XV1 is 16. The community is small, but plots abound. A violent coup is always just around the corner. Whenever there's a commotion anywhere in Downfall, Bullywug courtiers clamor to find out what's happening. If a loud noise occurs, such as the clangor of combat or raised voices, 1d6 plus 1 bullywugs converge on the source. These bullywugs crave gossip, not violence, and are indifferent towards strangers. They will defend themselves in Downfall if they deem it necessary or politically advantageous. That's cool. I like that. That it's not like they send in reinforcements. It's just like a bunch of looky-loos show up to see what's going on. That's fun. They speak Bullywug, Common, and Sylvan. Use the Bullywug names table in the Soggy Court. Honorifics table to make Okay, sure. So some names. Auglith, Bloff, Boltis, Grumple. Grumple's good. Mundlemud is great. Ribble. Splop. Splop is excellent. A couple of these are good. Ufgunk, I think, is weird. I love Splop. Mundlemud is good. Grumple is good. I always like names that are, like, close to real words, right? But just a little bit off. That way you kind of recognize it. Like, there's a dwarf in my home game. His name is Jacob. Like, Y-A-K-O-B. Jacob. Right? So it's like, you look at it and it doesn't look like Jacob, but then you say it and you're like, oh, sure, his name is just Jacob. And the Soggy Court honorifics. Ooh, these are fun. Yeah, yeah. Oh, look, Bogbottom is right there. Was that where I got it from? Oh, man. Okay, Croaking Sage, Count of Bogbottom, Duke of the Three Rocks. I feel like Duke of the Three Stumps or something is more interesting. Earl of Stinkwater. Earl of Stinkwater. Great, love it. Green Baron, okay. Knight of the Pickled Fly. Moss Crown Knight and Pawnflower Knight. So they are kind of concerned with knights, it seems like. Okay, cool. I dig it. All right, here's the map. Yeah, so it's like these little like kind of hills that surround... I assume that Cottage is the central location there. Not really a town, I guess. It's really just like a couple of buildings. Okay. So it's got kind of the side and also the aerial. Interesting. All right, we're just gonna break this down. D1. So D1 is kind of like here on the far left side. D1 channel. Characters will likely arrive by skiff, rowboat, or raft by way of the channel. The water flows into Murky Lake. Thick fog hangs heavy in the air, obscuring the area around you. The waterway widens and the current slows, giving you the impression you've entered a lake. Croaking voices penetrate the fog, through which dark shapes appear, resolving into 2 rowboats. Manning the oars of each rowboat are 2 bullywugs. The 4 bullywugs are enjoying a boat ride on the lake. All 4 are dressed in soiled garb typical of members of the Soggy Court. Welcome to Downfall. If they don't attack immediately, they explain their king will be honored to make the character's acquaintance. Sure. The characters head to the small dock nearby and make their way across the stepping stone to the balloon factory, across the bridge of Shattering Heads to the Gazebo. So it's kind of like a little tour, right? Like the dock and the stepping stones. Where is the palace? D6. There. Oh, it's like a gazebo. Okay, so it's not actually a palace. So the dock. Sure, that's the balloon factory is D2, D3. Oh, cool. I put a name for Bullywugs thing on Reddit to get ideas when I was running Bullywugs. Oh, cool. You should post the link if you can find it, Nuker Wolf. That'd be great. I'd love to have some Bullywug names. Okay. The characters asked about Lorna. The Bullywugs insist that the characters see the king first. They attack them. They croak loud enough to warn guards of the watchtower. So there's the watchtower there. Okay. Is that on the map? Yeah, I see. Okay. Sound the alarm with loud croaks of their own. 6 armed Bullywugs. Swamp gas balloons. Okay. Let's go to Wicker Basket. Character 750 pounds. The balloon, which contains the swamp gas that provides lift, is a huge object. 15 hit points. Immunity to poison and psychic damage, sure. Must be filled with swamp gas. The flap at the bottom of the balloon lets the gas in. Okay, that's how gases work. I don't super care. D2, damaged balloon. Okay. Looming above a ramshackle pier is a balloon anchored by 4 thick ropes tied around wooden posts driven deep into the mire. The balloon's bladder expands and sags. Swamp gas fills it. Bullywug stands near the top of the ladders. He's using a long silver needle shirt to sew it up. 3 giant frogs, whose long tongues snap out at passing insects. Okay. Watch the characters warily, but pose no threat. Yeah, sure, because another one of the balloons was stolen recently. I like that. Okay. If the characters strike up a conversation with the Bullywugs, the one on the ground responds in Sylvan. Obviously the king. So it's operational but damaged. There's 10 hit points remaining. Okay. So it does kind of feel like they're trying to be like, hey, you should steal this balloon. That's right there at D2. Okay, cool. D3. Stepstone crossing. A row of boulders spaced 2 feet apart. Only 4 feet deep. The bottom's not visible. Oh, cute. The middle stepstone is actually the top of a gale of door. Someone steps on it. The gale of door takes offense, grumbling about ingratitude. Apology accompanied by a successful DC 12 Charisma Persuasion check. To repeat the check, provided the apology is sung with feeling. Has to be sung. Interesting. A second failed check, or if the character refuses to sing, the gale of door uses its animate boulders action to affect the 2 boulders closest to it, and the 3 of them move 15 feet to the west, leaving a 20-foot gap formed by the stepstones. Any character who's standing atop one of the stones is dumped into the water. Okay. Oh dear, predators. 2 marrow lurk in the water east of the crossing. They dislike the taste of bullywugs and ignore them, but they attack any non-bullywugs that enter the water. The characters find themselves in battle with the Murrow. Oh, okay. Then bullywugs arrive to help them hurl spears at the Marrow, frightening them away. Glad to be of help and happily point the characters in the direction of their king. If the characters offer the bullywugs nothing in return, they really want you to go to the king. The bullywugs take no offense. They don't expect foreigners to honor the rule of reciprocity. I still feel like I have to introduce that in some way. I might have to put a random encounter in there to introduce one of these rules. Great. This wooden structure stands on stilts above the lake. It is topped by a steep conical roof made of thatch. Smoke curls up from a hole at its apex. Its windows are blacked out, and the air carries the smell of burned wood. A clothesline attached to one corner of the building's exterior is hung with a variety of frayed patchwork garments. Okay. Sure, it's a clothesline that leads to her cottage. The building is accessible by ramps from areas D3 and D4. But like, what's the point of it? The wooden dog clings to the outside of the structure. The charred mess, hazy smoke, hangs over scattered piles of burned and broken shelves, intermixed with whatever those shelves contained. Wisps of smoke snake into the air. Distressed bullywug in a leather smock scurries around the room with a bucket of water whose contents spill out over the sides in haste. 2 bullywugs recently set fire to the place, destroying most of the supplies as a consequence. Oh, sure. Wigglewog is his name. I was right. It is Wigglewog. Now deceased was Morgort, the former Knight of Warts. So it does seem like you would maybe meet him there if he's still there, still working at the place. But I think we have to kind of replace him with Clapperclaw. Changes. Balloon Factory. Or let's just go Balloon Factory. Am I doing changes? We're already under changes. Balloon Factory. Wigglewog used to work here, but was apprehended by Lorna upon his return. He's now held in the cottage or wherever. Now held in bondage. Like wherever Clapperclaw ends up being, we'll put him in there. Okay. The other was Morgort, the former Knight of Warts, who was captured before she could make her escape and is now being held. So maybe that's what it is, right? I should have just read one more sentence. It's now held in Area D9. A bullywug named Duke Ickrind is overseeing the repair of the factory, but new fires keep popping up thanks to the persistence of the animated coals that were used to start the fire originally. The characters enter the place. Duke Ickrind yells into Sylvan, grab a bucket. A low workbench, the only piece of undamaged furniture in the room, has 3 buckets on it. 2 of them are filled with water. If they help, he gives them a brass brooch shaped like a fly with wings that flutter. Animated coals, typically used to heat Lorna's Cauldron. 6 of these coals were brought into the balloon factory by saboteurs who wanted to burn it down. The coals are tiny animated objects. I might actually replace those with emberlings. Replace animated coals with emberlings. It's a homebrew monster I made. Little like soot sprites, kind of like from Spirited Away? Yeah, I almost said Totoro. They might be in Totoro too, actually. Yeah, I think they're in both. Bucket of water deals 1d6 damage. No longer submerged. Is inanimate and harmless. Okay, yeah. Kindle. Yeah, they're very similar to emberlings. Okay, cool. That's kind of cool. That the place is always like lighting on fire. I'm fine with that. Shattering Heads. This flat wood plank bridge, which spans an arm of the lake, is lined on one side by rows of bullywug heads on wooden spikes. Yikes. Center of the bridge, a small figure sits with the feet dangling over the side. Seems to be talking to itself in bemoaned tones. Then the severed bullywug heads are nearby erupt in a cacophony of voices, some indignant, others sympathetic. A few in the more distant row yell what? I couldn't hear what they said. Gotcha. So they're all like the beheaded monarchs. Yeah, deposed bullywug monarchs of the soggy court often lose their heads during violent changes of leadership. The severed heads are impaled on rows of spikes north of the bridge, and they verbally accost anyone who steps onto the bridge, each speaking of its own glorious rule and how the soggy court has become a mockery since its reign came to an end. Sure. All the heads belong to former monarchs who were deposed or killed by usurpers. Many of the former monarchs were betrayed by others whose rotting heads now also sit on spikes. They're definitely not going to be rotting because we've got kids, right? But I kind of think there's something fun about them, like Alice in Wonderland style, being beheaded, right? Current monarch is King Gullop the 19th. All the heads agree he is a weak ruler. Heard rumors of yet another coup in the works. Sir Talavar, Lorna's escaped prisoner, had help from bullywugs at the Soggy Court. One of his accomplices languishes in prison awaiting trial. Lorna is a distrustful shut-in who loathes her sisters, especially Skabatha Nightshade. Lorna has a pool in her cottage that's very important to her. She spends a lot of time bathing in it. Oh, sure, the figure chatting with the severed heads is Clapperclaw the Scarecrow. See the accompanying stat block, who is 3 feet tall. Created by Granny Nightshade using a tormented child's soul she found in Gehenna. It ran away from home so that it wouldn't have to perform evil tasks for her. After fleeing thither, Clapperclaw was waylaid by Agdon Longscarf and his Hair-and-Gone brigands, who stole its head, which the Scarecrow describes as the most glorious stag skull. Okay. It desperately wants its head back, and it's a bit self-conscious about its replacement head. A hollow gourd that now sits askew on its shoulders. 8 copper coins are sealed inside the gourd, causing the head to rattle. Okay. Let's maybe do this. What if we say that... Shattering Heads. What if we say instead that Wigglewog's head is impaled on a spike? I don't love Clapperclaw. I think they're kind of a weird... It's like a scarecrow, but it has a gourd for it. It's just such a strange character. There might be like a character near that we could replace them with or put Clapperclaw somewhere else. But as a guide, like they already know Wigglewog. I'm messing it up. Wigglewog. They know that he's a traitor, and Sir Talavar knows him, and they have Sir Talavar with them. So Wigglewog's head is impaled on a spike. He begs the characters for help. In exchange for their help, he can guide them to thither. His body is imprisoned in D9. So they've got to like similarly like rejoin the two. So conscious replacement head. 8 copper coins are sealed inside the gourd, causing the head to rattle whenever Clapperclaw nods. Turns out, I like that idea, yeah, the gourd head shaking. Knows the way from thither to hither and will guide the characters there if they help it recover its head. If the characters accept its offer, the Scarecrow does its best to stay out of harm's way. It's funny because, like, so Agden did give the skull to Lorna, who now keeps the near Cottage's treasure room in area B19. So that's the question, is like, if that body is imprisoned in D9, why do they end up going into Lorna's cottage, right? Let's see. I do like the stuffing thing. Clapperclaw carries a sailcloth sack filled with moldy straw. If the Scarecrow gets hurt, it heals itself by stuffing itself with replacement straw or similar plant matter, right? Like, that's a cool ability. I like that. If it fears Lorna blight straw too much to enter her cottage, but it will patiently wait for the characters outside the cottage if they choose to enter it. The Scarecrow has a similar aversion to the other hags of the Hourglass Coven. I mean, you could replace it too, and you could say that rather than Wigglewog's head being here, it's like his body is contained in the prison, and that his head is with her, right? All right, here we go. D6. His Royal Majesty Gullop the 19th. Grand Marble Gazebo. Stands atop a mound of soggy earth. Support pillars have sunk into the muck unevenly, so the dome canopy now sits askew. I like that. Short steps ring the gazebo, leading to a raised floor where bullywugs dressed in shabby clothing lounge on pillows. Among them, a harpist sends forth delicate notes that mingle with the murmured croaking of the gathered nobles. A flabby bullywug wearing a crown of woven lily flowers sits on an ornate throne with his legs folded under him. He has a large leather-bound book open across his lap and is mouthing the words he reads on the pages. Have you know herald to announce your presence to King Gullop the 19th. Okay. Bullywug Royal, accompanied by a baby crocodile. That's cool. Named Snoodle. Protected by 5 Bullywug Knights. The Knights are stationed around the edge of the gazebo's interior. 8 unarmed bullywugs lounge at the king's feet, eating insects from platters as they gossip among themselves. The king treats visitors as honored guests in accordance with the rule of hospitality, but he expects a measure of kindness in return. If a fight breaks out, Gullop the 19th flees to area D11 and makes his final stand there. Scheming King. King has only recently come into his position. Already his reign is a troubled one. Sir Talavar's recent escape through the theft of one of Lorna's prized balloons has left many of the king's subjects questioning his ability to manage a crisis. He has grown paranoid over the prospect of incurring the hag's wrath. A suspicion confirmed in the pages of the book on his lap. Lorna's big book of bad blood. That's great. In which the hag's displeasure with her enemies is spelled out in detail. Okay. He procured the book from a darkling merchant who stole it from Lorna a few hours ago. Okay. So he's looking for a way to avoid Lorna's ire. Characters might be his way out. He wants them to return the book to Lorna and assure her that Gullop didn't steal it, but merely ensured its safekeeping. Okay. So he had it stolen, but he needs to get it back to her. Gullop explains that only members of the Soggy Court are allowed to speak with Lorna, a falsehood he knows to be untrue, and he invites the characters to join the group. If they accept, he instructs them to proceed to the palace in Area D11 to be fitted with proper attire. Once they are appropriately garbed, Gullop gives the characters the Big Book of Bad Blood and encourages them as duly appointed emissaries of the Soggy Court to return it to the hag with great haste. Huh. Oh, sure. So they get roped into the coup attempt. One of the Bullywug non-combatants passes a wine goblet to one randomly determined character. Inside the cup is a scrap of parchment with words written on it in Sylvan. The message reads, "Find Illig, the Baron of Muck Stump, at once. The revolution lives." Illig is an ambitious noble looking to take Gullop's crown by force, and conspirators are gathering at his home in Area D16. Whenever a character asks a friendly Bullywug of the Soggy Court about Illig's whereabouts, roll a D8. Sure, do they know? Shares them. Okay. Okay. So, this, like, it's a little, I think it's a little complex to say that, like, the characters, that he stole the book, and then he wants to give the book back to Lorna. Like, I like the idea, I don't know sure exactly how to phrase this, but, like, I like the idea that he basically wants to make them the patsies, right? It's called, His Royal Majesty. His Royal Majesty. King Gullop stole the book and wants it returned. He agrees to free Wigglewog if they sneak back into Lorna's place and return the book. Okay. Murky Lake. D7, Murky Lake. Downfall is built around a 20-foot deep body of standing water called Murky Lake. Behave in a friendly manner if they ask for directions. There's the helpful others gaze about listlessly. Sure, there's people in the lake. And then her cottage. D8 is holding cells. Is D9 different? Proving rights. Oh, it's D8, not D9. Holding cells. Okay. Rising from the soggy earth is a sturdy wooden hut with an open doorway on one side of it. The back of the hut are two holding cells. Thick mangrove roots serve as bars. The floor of one cell is covered with several inches of stinking water. The other cell holds a figure in rags lumped against the back wall. So then holding cells would have, rather than mugwort, morgwort, this would have Wigglewog's headless body. Cannot speak. Only mime. Character can use an action to try to break into or out of the cell, tearing through its root walls with a successful DC 17 strength athletics check. A cell door's lock can be picked in 1 minute. Is it not guarded? I feel like it should be guarded. Prisoner in the south cell is an unarmed Bullywug Knight. So, yeah, Morgort, the Knight of Warts. One of Sir Talavar's accomplices, along with Wigglewog, and she now awaits justice. She has no regrets about helping the fairy dragon, and she regards Lorna as a bitter enemy. To the characters with a knightly bow, once the guards are gone, she is dressed in the ragged and stained remnants of an orange surcoat that now bears the sigil of a great helm fashioned to resemble a frog's head. She now seems like an important character, actually. She's an accomplished balloon pilot, okay. Helped the Honorable Sir Talavar escape. To delay their pursuers long enough for Wigglewog and Sir Talavar to steal a balloon, she was forced to stay behind and got captured as a result. Ah, it's likely she'll be battling one of the characters in a trial by combat. Okay. She goes sullen, need to get out of Downfall in a hurry, suggests they try to steal the balloon and use it to fly to safety. The balloon can also deliver the characters safely to thither if that's where they want to go, as discussed at the end of this chapter. She follows the party's lead otherwise and tries her best to be helpful. So why would she be fighting them in trial by combat? Mangrove tree stands in the center of a patch of heavily churned mud where rusting and rotting bits of armor and weapons are scattered. 2 lengths of chain are anchored on opposite sides of the tree trunk, each with an iron shackle on the end. Are 20 feet in diameter. Combatants are shackled by one wrist or ankle to a 10-foot length of chain attached to the tree. The chain has AC 19, 11 hit points, and immunity to poison and psychic damage. Using an action, a creature can pull a chain free. So wait, what? It's one tree? Scroll back up to the map. Doesn't really show you. D9. Let me read the description again. Yo, what's up, Alan? Where is it? Oh, I passed it. So, combat rules. 2 lengths of chain are anchored to opposite sides of a tree trunk, each with an iron shackle on the end. Okay, so it's like a tree trunk with 2 lengths of chain, and then they shackle them. And then the two people have to fight each other, but they're both shackled to this tree, okay? A trial by combat is a procedure which wrongs to be redressed in the soggy court. It can be invoked as a vote of no confidence in the current monarch. A trial always has 2 combatants, the accused and the accuser, or surrogates representing them. Once they are shackled, the combatants fight until one is dead and justice is thereby served. 1 hour after the characters are imprisoned. Why are they imprisoned? But it doesn't say... Okay. I have a problem with the way this adventure is structured. I feel like they do this thing where they bury important information. Like, why do they get imprisoned? Come to get it. Hit them in Morgort. Characters... okay, I'm gonna look for imprisoned. Imprisoned. There's literally one reference to it. Why would they be captured? Yeah, if they show hostility or refuse to join the soggy court, he commands their guards to seize them. Yeah. Right? But why would they get captured? I don't understand that. That's very presumptuous. Okay, but if they're captured 1 hour after the characters are imprisoned in Area D9, apparently they're going to be imprisoned in Area D9. That's news to me. The guards instruct the characters to choose a champion from among them to represent the group in the trial. Okay. I feel like you could make this a lot clearer if you just said if the characters are imprisoned, right? The guards nominate someone if the characters don't choose a champion. The champion and Morgort are each changed to the tree and given a club. The rest of the characters are kept at the edge of the proving grounds. Whatever, yeah. Presides over the trial. I just don't understand why they would be... Okay. Weird. D10. Trinkle, Bauble, and Charms. What's going on? Hey, what's up, Hunter? How was your meeting? Thanks for coming, man. D10, okay. Oh, yeah, this is that weird, like, storm cloud thing. That's cool. Let's check out D10. Trinkle, Bauble, and Charms. A big black balloon floats over the lake, tugging at its moorings. Beneath it hangs a basket made of black wicker and wood. Serves as a merchant stall. Large pane of gray glass is drawn closed across the opening. Sign mounted says wondrous wares and fair fares. That's cool. The balloon is not made of fabric, but rather appears to be a whirling dark rain cloud that has been contained somehow with lines and netting. That's cool. 2 darklings, right? Those are like weird little dark crystal creatures, right? Weird little Henson creatures. Little goblins. And Trinket and Bauble look after the balloon and lurk inside the cramped merchant stall. Open for business. For boss, Charm. It's a Darkling Elder, okay. Charm travels around Prismeer in her rain cloud balloon while posing as a merchant. She's actually a burglar working for Lorna's sister. Yeah, I hear you, Hunter. Endel Moongrave. Charm has come to Downfall to steal treasures from under Lorna's nose. Trinket and Bauble guard the stall, while Charm sees to the real business of carrying out her heist, described later in the chapter. Okay, is that how they get imprisoned? I just feel like... Trinkle and Bauble greet their... They sell a bunch of things. Very good thimble, fingertip not included. Mug of Bumble beer, has a nice sting to it, sure. I like ink portraits. If we have to look at you, so should you. Great. Moonlight monocle, no more fumbling in the dark. Most of the items for sale are non-magical goods of little or no value. The exception being the moonlight monocle, sure. Oh, Oh, the unicorn horn. If the story tracker indicates the unicorn horn is here, it is among items available. Oh, boy. I don't remember the unicorn horn and where that's supposed to be. Oof. It doesn't say. How do you determine that? This adventure is poorly structured. And one of the following demands is compensation for any single item. The color from the buyer's eyes produces a small marble that drains the color from the buyer's eyes. She utters the phrase, "Hue be mine." Robbed of their color, the buyer's irises turn transparent. Bauble demands the rhythm in the buyer's step. This is an articulated wooden marionette. It makes a dance on the countertop while repeating 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Deprived of this rhythm, the buyer loses all talent for dancing. Oh no. That's cool. The characters steal the balloon. It delivers them to area M16 of Motherhorn. Motherhorn. Is that Yawn? I don't know what Motherhorn is. Unless they have a trained pilot that can fly it elsewhere. The balloon harnesses the energy of a rain cloud to stay aloft. To use the balloon, the harnessed cloud must be charged with electrical energy, dealing 20 or more lightning damage to the cloud from a single source, or by surrounding it with electricity charge from storm clouds for at least 10 minutes. Sure. Yeah, that's cool, though. I like how big it is. Like, it's very, very dramatic. I like that a lot. Cool. Sinking Palace. The palace has 2 entrances, one on the high ground to the northwest, the other overlooking the docks. Each entrance has 2 bullywugs and a crocodile guarding it. Okay, cool. Palace has 2 levels. Upper level is built around the trunk of a tree. 2d4 unarmed and unarmored bullywug courtiers. Lower level is submerged in 3 inches. I love that the palace is just, like, not interesting, right? There's, like, nothing here. Clothesline, again. Lorna's cottage. 4 flights of wooden steps rise up out of the swamp, ending at a trapdoor in the underside of Lorna's cottage, which is perched atop tall, thick wooden stilts and surrounded by dense fog. Big Barkless. Ooh, a tree blight! Fuck yes! I love me a good tree blight. Okay, where is D13? Let's go back to the map. Big Barkless. Okay, cool, over here. So yeah, the palace is here at 11. The balloon and everything is there, and then D13 has Big Barkless. Fuck yeah. Several holes dot the trunk of the gnarled old tree that grows on the shore of the lake. The tree has lost all its bark, and a few withered leaves cling to the ends of its twisted, knotted branches. One end of the clothesline. Big Barkless is a tree blight, a carnivorous ambulatory plant of menacing disposition. While it remains motionless, it easily passes for a dead tree. 4 sprites live in hollow cavities in its trunk. Their names are Bitsy, Dandy, Mintleaf, and Timpella. The sprites are a bitter bunch, taunting those who come close by spewing forth insulting words and tiny arrows. Like, why is it here, though? Prompting the blight to fight back. Okay. Remains rooted to the spot, unless it's acting in its own defense. It just feels like it has no story reason to be where it is. Like, it's cool. I like tree blights, but why is it here? What does it do? Clothesline attached to Big Barkless is hung with frayed patchwork garments. The line leads to Lorna's cottage. It is not a willow, and it never womps. Yeah, exactly. It is legally distinct from a womping willow. There's one in Curse of Strahd that's fun. I like tree blights. But, like, what is it doing here? Why is it that, like, I could see a thing where, like, if you got in one clothesline that goes to Lorna's cottage, right, then it's coming from the evil tree, and you have to, like, contend with the tree. But, like, what? Okay. Like, it's cool. I don't dislike it. But it just feels like it has nothing to do with the rest of the town. Why would they suffer this tree to be here? Why would they build their town around this, you know, legally distinct, I'm trying to think what's it, like, the bruising birch, you know? Your heart suddenly feels cold, the sense of loneliness that borders on despair, and the toadstool patch. Oh boy, a haunting melancholy. A haunting melancholy tune played on a flute reaches out to you. Oh, crazy. What's going on here? A slender elf with pale blue skin and black hair sits curled in the shadow of a gray 6-foot-tall toadstool, playing a somber tune on a double flute. The flautist is a wood elf named Octavian Meliamne. Came to Lorna seeking magic that would make him forget his lost loves. Yeah, very Orpheus, right? Octavian. He refused to give Lorna what she wanted in return. Octavian's still beating heart. As punishment, Lorna took what she wanted by force, switching out Octavian's heart with a goat's heart so that he would not die. The process left the elf unable to feel or exhibit emotion. Truthful with the characters about what happened to him, he knows what Lorna did was wrong, but he can't seem to get worked up about it. He suspects the hag is keeping his heart as a trophy, using the heart to keep her meat locker cold. Ooh. Okay. The characters return his original heart to him. Octavian reciprocates by giving him his pipes of haunting. While Octavian and his true heart are within 5 feet of one another, any spell that ends a curse can swap the goat's heart in Octavian's chest with its still beating heart. Okay. Regains his true heart. The goat's heart appears at his feet as a dead, desiccated lump of tissue. That's pretty gross. Again, it just kind of feels like a random... Alright. Ooh, a creature that eats more than half of the goat's heart gains the benefits of a potion of invulnerability. That's pretty cool. Very, Doshkaleen, right? His true heart and his capacity of feeling emotion restored. He goes merrily into the swamp. Okay. Interesting. Bullywug Hut. It's got a chest with some shit in it. Identify scroll. Bullywug Hut. Barred from the inside. Knock on the door. Bullywug inside the dwelling croaks. Push the note under the door. Secret message. Oh, sure. Yeah. The Bullywug lifts the bar, opens the door, and allows them inside. If the characters don't comply or don't have the note, a successful DC 15 can open it. Sure. Shelter to a group of Bullywugs you're planning to overthrow King Gullop the 19th. The leader is a Bullywug knight named Illig, Baron of Muckstump. 4 other Bullywugs. Neutral evil. Uh-oh. Glorig, Grundlekrantz. Like Grundlekrantz. Gullabek and Vloop. Vloop is great too. I think they're like 50-50 with these Bullywug names. Like Glorig is meh. Grundlekrantz, amazing. Gullabek, I could take it or leave it, but Vloop, great. Love Vloop. We stan a Vloop, fam. Illig regards Gullop the 19th as a witless buffoon, unworthy of the crown, and plans to declare himself the rightful king. A drawing on the mud floor that depicts a crude image of Gullop with a dagger in his eye. Look at this drawing, this comic I drew. That's very silly. He proudly displays a drawing on the mud floor. Look at this. Like I was thinking it could be like a battle plan or like, you know, the palace like floor plan, but it's just like, look, I killed him in this drawing. It's not even like a painting, it's like a drawing on the mud floor with a stick. I don't know why that tickles me so much, but he's like proud about it. Like, look at my great works. Illig's plot is straightforward. He intends to approach Gullop the 19th while the king sits on his throne, intends to trip into him and accidentally stick him in the eye with the dagger. Amazing. I'm here for this. I might make Vloop the conspirator because I just like the name Vloop better. Or Voolp. What's Vloop? Voolp? Voolp. Is the name, is the conspirator's name, not Illig. Illig isn't like bad. Illig could be a Bullywug, but if you're gonna have, if you have a choice between saying Illig or Voolp a bunch, you should be saying Voolp. Vloop is easier to say. I like Voolp. Voolp. Amazing. He's eager what they think of his cunning plan. If they have a better one, he wants to hear it. So good. I like how dumb that is. Characters try to leave before Illig is ready to pull off his attempted coup. Become suspicious of them. Attack the characters to prevent them from betraying Illig to Gullop. Yep, fair. The wooden crate, as Lorna's name scrawled on it in Sylvan. The hunting gear piled on top of it includes a heavy crossbow, 6 crossbow bolts, a hunting trap, and a rolled up cape of moss. 7 woodland carcasses, which the Bullywugs intend to deliver to Lorna. Sure. So it's like a bribe to give to the hag. Okay. If the Bullywug conspirators are not stopped or the king is not warned, the coup succeeds. The coup succeeds, and Illig becomes King Illig the First. If the characters warn Gullop the 19th or thwart his conspirators, the coup fails. If the coup is thwarted because of the characters' actions, Gullop the 19th rewards them with Illig's former title, dubbing each of them Duke of Muckstump. Comes with no lands or holdings, but other members of the Soggy Court are envious and eager to befriend the new nobility. Okay. King's Mount. Giant toad. A frayed rope tethers a giant toad to a wooden post in the middle of this hut. The toad looks uncomfortable as a pair of sticky webbed hands push their way out of its mouth. And regurgitates a bullywug who falls prone on the floor. Yeah, man. Duke of Muckstump is what they called you in prison. Yeah, that sounds about right, Alan. The giant toad is Gullop the 19th mount. The regurgitated bullywug is the toad's handler, Vlonk. Vlonk isn't too bad. Swallow the Guard is a game the toad likes to play, and Gullop has ordered Vlonk to let himself get swallowed whenever the toad wants to play. Our indifferent towards the characters ask them to mind the toad as he goes for a swim to wash the toad's saliva off. The toad tries to swallow at least one of the characters. Great, yeah, I'm into it. We have Lorna's Cauldron. Okay, with a thick lid, sits above a bed of hot coals. So her cauldron is just like sitting out here. It's 4 feet in diameter and 3 feet tall, hot to the touch because it's being heated by coals. The cauldron's lid is held shut by an arcane lock spell, the password for which is Spittle Spew. If anyone tries to remove the lid without first speaking the password, it scuttles away. That's cool. Walking speed of 30 feet and returns to a spot over the coals after 10 minutes. Okay. A magman emerges from within the pile of hot coals. Introduces itself as the coal tender. You want in that cauldron? Listen, I got a guy. I can hook you up. He offers to give them the password in exchange for some dry wood. Characters give him a bundle of wood. The magman shares the password. The magman lingers until the cauldron returns, at which point the magman dives in under the coals and disappears. I gotta figure out this unicorn horn thing, because apparently it's like necessary in the plot, but I don't remember what it's supposed to do, because I think a lot of these locations are intended to be like, hey, there's a unicorn horn here. So let me see if I can find it. Unicorn horn. Again, this is a very poorly structured adventure, I think. Let's just unicorn. Unicorn's horn. Monster manual. Using the story tracker. Oh, so its location is determined randomly. Okay. The unicorn horn's location table. Oh, well, hey, let's do it. Let's roll on this table and figure out where in the hell this unicorn horn is. I don't know why the unicorn horn is important, because this adventure is poorly structured. But let me determine where it is, and then we'll figure out what the fuck it is and why it matters. Although I should maybe look at all the options and see which ones are coolest. Offer for sale a trinket, bauble, and charm. Yep. Hidden among the coals under Lorna's Cauldron. Stolen by Will of the Feywild and the Captain Little Oak. I know Will of the Feywild is like a Peter Pan analog, and I'm excited to get to that. So that seems cool. Hidden in one of the cupboards in Loom Lurch, in the possession of Archelaus the Paraton, in the possession of Scylla the Warlock, in possession of Sean the Librarian, and tucked into a wooden chest by Ygric the Quasit. I got 6, which is Scylla the Warlock, but I kind of like Will of the Feywild, who I think is this guy here. Why is the unicorn horn important? Horn belongs to a unicorn named Eladon, who was captured and transformed into a rocking horse by the Hourglass Coven. For more information about Eladon, see area L6 in Chapter 3. Why does that matter? Loom Lurch. I mean, some crazy other place now. It's actually a flying rocking horse. Archelaus sounds like a cool guy. A chill Paraton, for sure. Granny Nightshade uses to soar across Prismere. Okay. So it's one of the other hags' like mount. The rocking horse used to be a unicorn named Eladon until the hags of the Hourglass Coven turned it into an obedient construct. If a character finds Eladon's lost unicorn horn, it places it on the rocking horse's brow while the horse has at least 1 hit point remaining. The curse is broken, and the rocking horse magically transforms into the unicorn. But, like, why does that matter? Eager to return to its mate, Lamorna. Okay. But isn't the unicorn horn, like, important? No? Is it? That's it? It's just there's a unicorn horn? It's not, like, needed to unlock the spell or something? Oh, boy. I don't love that. Okay. Let's say that the unicorn horn is held by Will of the Feywild, because that seems like the coolest option. Even though, yes, Archelaus sounds like a sick bro. Sounds like he would really, you know, get your have your back in a scenario where you might need a Paraton. So we're gonna go back to I don't know, yeah, what the purpose of the fucking unicorn horn is. This adventure is poorly structured. Did I mention it? I wouldn't have maybe run it if I had known how poorly structured it was. I mean, like, the kids are having fun. It's like they're not having a good time, but, like, you know, it's hard. It makes it very hard to read. Okay, inside the cauldron is a bubbling, frothy, gray-black liquid that radiates an aura of transmutation magic under the scrutiny of a detect magic spell. Any creature who drinks a pint or more of the liquid is targeted by a polymorph spell. That's cool. And that's it. It's just, like, full of goop. Amid the coals. Huh. But why do you need it? Watchtower. A wooden plank path leads to this location from the nearby dwellings. Sure, this is the watchtower they come in. Okay. Difficult terrain. Swivelly spyglass. Okay. Lorna's Cottage. Lorna's Cottage is heavily obscured by thick fog to anyone 20 or more feet away from it. Clotheslines hang from the cottage's four corners and stretch across the Murky Lake to their anchor points. Can support 200 pounds of added weight before snapping. The cottage is a massive wooden edifice built on stilts, its floor 35 feet above the lake. It sits atop a well that extends up through the floor. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, those like stone wells. A rickety wooden staircase with no railing rises from the lake, wrapping around the well as it climbs to a wooden trapdoor in the floor of area B1. Ceilings and rooftops are 10 feet high. High-pitched, covered with moss, too slippery to climb without magic or climbing gear. Doors and trapdoors are closed but unlocked, except for the door to area B19. Cottage's doors and trapdoors are made of moldy wooden planks. Floors and stairs, mossy wooden planks. Walls and windows, soft mossy wood that doesn't burn easily due to moisture trapped in them. Are hinged to be openable but latched. Yeah. Okay. Alright, here's the map. So the first floor, sure, with the well coming up. Okay, this is a big dungeon. On the second floor. Ugh. Don't like the look of room B13. Yikes. And then the top. Okay. Preservation pool, B1. Alright, so we're starting right with the preservation pool. Accessible through the cottage's trapdoor entrance that leads up from Murky Lake. A recessed pool lined with moldy clay tiles takes up most of this large square room. Stagnant water fills the depression to a depth of 1 foot. Rising from the pool's center is the head of a stone well that gives off an unpleasant, pungent odor. Creaky floorboards are arranged. There's a tall freestanding mirror in an oval frame. Sorry, I'm just trying to scan this. 4 of medium size and 3 of small size. 6 of them are adorned with her garments. One of them is bare except for an ugly black pointed hat that's a dark mantle. That's cool. It attacks anyone other than Lorna who touches it. If it makes a successful melee attack against a creature it happens to be wearing a hat or a helm, the dark mantle grabs and removes the headgear and flies with it. Flees with it rather than dealing damage to the target or enveloping its head. Okay, interesting. Magic mirror, classic. Oh, sure, command word is Bandersnatch. It's cute. Become a swirling vortex of mist. Creature that steps into the vortex is instantly transported to the Hall of Illusions in the Witchlight Carnival. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's cool. That's right, because I used it before. Ooh, that's fun. Because they're looking for the carnival. Or they're trying to get back to it. So they're trying to get to the carnival. That's like a fun little cheat. I love that. That's cool. And I should make sure that I make a point of describing it that way. So let's do Lorna's Cottage changes. Like, obviously, they were intending it for you to take you back to the material plane, but I like the idea that it just brings you to where the carnival is in the Feywild. This is in what chamber? In the preservation pool. Preservation pool. Make a specific point that the mirror resembles the mirror in the carnival. Great. Steps into the vortex is instantly transported to the Hall of Illusions. Breaking the mirror renders it non-magical. Once the portal closes, it can't be reopened except by touching the mirror's surface and speaking the password again. Okay. Stairs lead down to the pool from one corner of the surrounding walkway. She tries to bathe in the pool once a day to keep her skin from drying out and cracking, but the well that supplies the water has stopped working. Sea is filled with calm water almost to the brim. Lorna doesn't know it, but the cause of the faulty is a 10-foot-high gelatinous cylinder that's blocking the normal flow of water. The creature's presence has contaminated the water above it, rendering it mildly acidic. Character who experiences the tingling can... Something akin to a gelatinous cube has lodged itself in the well. But why? Why is it there? Attacks any creature and dissolves any organic material that comes into contact with it. If a creature lowers itself into the water, attacks the ooze from above, and then exits the well. Shimmers after them, or squirms up after them. Yeah, I feel like this adventure is full of stuff like this, where it's like, okay, so you come to this witch's house, this hag's house, right? And you find her weird preservation pool. That it seems like the implication is that it's going to keep you from like it's going to keep you from aging, right? But there's a gelatinous cube inside of it, and she doesn't know that. But the thing is that you don't know what this thing does. So if you go into the pool and it's mildly tingly, it's just going to seem like it's a mildly tingly pool. That's going to seem by design, right? It's like it's a hat on a hat. It's like too many ideas on top of each other that they don't really work together, right? It's like simple premise, complex execution, but they're doing like complex premise stuff. And they always do this where it's like, okay, so the king has this book, Lorna's Book of Bad Blood, that he has paid someone to steal for him, right? And now he has it, and he's read it, and now he wants the party to give it back. It's like this hugely complicated thing, as opposed to just saying that, like, she has a book and he wants to know what's in it, right? Like, that's cleaner than I took it and I want it back, right? Like, yeah, I kind of think we should change it. I kind of think it should be like, King Gullop is worried that Lorna is angry with him and wants her big book of bad blood to see if his name is in it. Well, it could even be like King Gullop is worried. Gullop is worried that Lorna cursed him with bad luck. That like the book doesn't just have like her grudges in it. It specifically has like, you know, if your name is written in the book, then you're in trouble. Yeah, I like that. If they steal it, if they steal the book, so he can either cross his name out or confirm that it's not there. His name out or confirm that it's not there. That it's not there, he can free Wigglewog's head. Okay, Wigglewog's body. Okay. Great. The lily pad floating on the water is a magic item called a bobbing lily pad. Lorna is attuned to it currently. What does a bobbing lily pad do? Sorry, while I load this. Take a second. Oh, it's a magic vehicle. That's cool. Tendrils can propel it across land and water surface, as well as through the air. Whoa. That's cool. That's a fun item. I like that. This is what I mean. Like, the adventure is full of cool stuff. It's just, you have to kind of wade through all the junk. Okay, Taxidermy Workshops. Let's go back to the map here. So this is B2, and then B3, B4, B5, B6. Okay, we'll just stay here. Taxidermy Workshop. Horse's head leers at you with glossy eyes. It is affixed to a large 8-limbed armature made of wicker and wire. Situated so that its face is the doorway when you entered. Near it is a wooden crate. Flies buzz about this disordered room. Ooh, animal carcasses. On a low table rests an assortment of tools, saws, knives, scrapers, and a hand-cranked drill. Okay. I love the chimeras, but I wonder if we maybe don't make it quite so gruesome for the kids. The carcass of a curled-up 8-legged reptile with spikes running down its back. It's the carcass of a basilisk. Okay. Along with the tools and specimens, the table has a high box with drawers that contain glass eyes. One of them is made of wood. It belongs to Lorna's sister, Skabatha Nightshade. So let's just say that it's maybe not, like, tone down the gruesomeness in here. Taxidermy Workshop. Tone down the gruesome, gory nature of this chamber. Like, you could still have there be, like, horrible taxidermied animals, right? But you maybe don't have flies and gore everywhere. Alright, fabric storage room. Okay, whatever. Yeah, there's just details, nothing too fun. Rickety stairs. Outdoor stairways connects B1 to B13, so it goes up, right? The steps are in bad shape. Second and third steps on the bottom are rotted and incapable of supporting much weight. Any more than 40 pounds of weight is placed on them, they give way. They fall. Plunges 35 feet in the 20-foot lake, taking no damage. Falls in the lake while wearing heavy armor, sinks to the bottom. Wasps Nest. 7-foot long, 10-foot wide wasps. Jesus Christ. That's a big wasp's nest. Wasps from the nest. Any damage dealt to the nest applies to the swarm as well. Part of the nest overlaps the door, and opening the door disturbs the nest. Okay, cool. Ugh. Nasty wasp's nest. Trove of lesser goodies. Lorna's room creaks loudly when opened. Okay, if Sir Talavor the fairy dragon was recaptured and brought here, he remains trapped in his cage, which hangs from a hook protruding from a wall next to the cupboard. Okay. Let's see. The cupboard is locked, but can be unlocked by rotating the circular panel so the hourglass sigil is turned upside down. That's cool. And ascertain that it can be manipulated safely. Various mementos in the cupboard. Okay. Sure, I like that. I just got like a list of passwords. Like it's like stuck next to the mirror. Ooh, that's kind of funny. What if we do a joke with the mirror? There's a note like on the ground looking like it was once stuck to the mirror that says Bandersnatch on it. That like she wrote it on a sticky note and put it by the mirror, and then it, you know, fell down, and it's still there. Like, because I sometimes think that's a trick with a lot of these magic items and like command words. It's a good way to keep characters from just like instantly getting access to a powerful item, but there's no good way to learn them, right? So like here they have a scrap of paper with the word spittle spew written on it in common, which is good because that's the password to the cauldron. But how are you supposed to learn the password to Bandersnatch, right? Like, who has that information? How would you get it, right? Loose buttons of various shapes, colors, and materials. Straight cutlery, a horseshoe, feathers and various birds, a chipped teacup. Okay, a bunch of random shit. Balcony. Runs almost length of the cottage and is covered from end to end with living frogs. Okay. Attached to one corner of the cottage just beyond reach of the clothesline, draped with patchwork stuff. If anyone steps on the balcony, the hundreds of harmless frogs on the balcony croak in unison, alerting Bev Lorna wherever she happens to be in the cottage. Sure, so it's like a burglar alarm, but it's just frogs. Cool. 3 of her Lornlings to go check it out. Hallway. I'm not in love with the Lornlings. I think it might be worth it to replace them. Oh yeah, I did the ghoul with the pig mask. Lornlings. Replace the Lornlings with Chimera monsters. What is the name of that ghoul with the pig mask? I forget now. But we'll put her in here somewhere too, because they interacted with her and thought she was pretty creepy. If she hears the croaking frogs, Bev Lorna sends 3 of her Lornlings. They avoid combat. Okay. Hallway. Requiring passwords to contain non-sequential numbers and a punctuation mark. That's actually pretty funny, yeah. If it's like Bandersnatch, exclamation point, you know, 2 or whatever. Do the passwords have to contain numbers and punctuation? That's very funny. Also, this dank hallway covered with scores of portraits depicting grumpy, sad, frightened, and angry people. Figures include humans, elves, halflings, bullywugs, goblins, among others, rendered in a variety of mediums, paintings, etchings, and sketches. An aura of transmutation magic around. So there's another mirror. This mirror's frame is stuck to the wall with sovereign glue, and the mirror can't be removed without destroying it. The mirror alters the reflection of any creature that gazes into it, rendering the reflection bereft of expression or emotion, except if a creature smiles into the mirror. In that case, the creature's reflection also smiles, and a secret door in the wall holding the mirror swings inward, revealing a hidden passage. Okay, cool. Any character who examines the wall behind the mirror succeeds on a DC 10 perception check to see the edges of a secret door. Leads to B9, okay. Guest room is dusty, uncluttered. Several shadow boxes hang on the wall. Mummified pixies pinned to boards like a collection of butterflies. Yeesh. One of the glass on one of the shadow boxes has been broken and its contents are missing. That's cool. I like that. Secret passage. So we're gotten with the secret passage, which connects. Are we on the second floor yet? I think so. We went up the stairs, right? So I want to look at the. Yeah, wow, quite a maze here. So we come up. Here's the hallway, right? There's the secret door. B8, B7. Okay. This is getting very intricate. Secret door leading to B7 is easily spotted from this side, but requires a knock spell or a similar magic to open. Only Lorna can do it. Creatures and objects in the hallway magically shrink in size as they get closer to B10. That's cool. They're normal size at the end of the hallway, closest to B7, 1/2 the normal size at the bend in the hallway, and 1/20th their normal size at the end of the hall closest to area B10. I like that. That's fun. And it's a tiny door, of course, right? Like, you get smaller as you go down the hall. A solid wall seems to block access to area B10, but closer inspection reveals a 2-inch wide, 4-inch tall mouse hole at the base of the wall. The mouse hole is blocked by a tiny wooden door that is barred on this side by a steel needle. Lifting the needle allows the tiny door to be pulled open, revealing a moldy stretch of floor underneath the potion cabinet that stands against the wall in area B10. Okay, interesting. Shrunken creatures that pass through the door have 1 minute to move out from under the cabinet into area B10 before they return to normal size. Yeah, they're under the cabinet when they emerge to smaller or medium size. It is pinned underneath the cabinet, prone and restrained. Use an action to try to free itself. Yeah, I love that. That's fun. So then in the study, 2 characters having a conversation in the middle of the room. The first figure is seated in... Oh, sure, here we are. This is Lorna Blightstraw. A tall, lean woman of gray complexion dressed in black with a wide-brimmed hat obscuring her eyes. The other figure is a toad-like creature with bulging eyes and cracked skin. It is clad in a shapeless garment and sits at one end of a love seat with its legs pulled up beneath it. Flies flit into and out of its mouth, which hangs agape when it isn't speaking. Ugh. 2 tiny versions of the creature cling to it like pets. Horrifying. The room is filthy. Dirty dishes and bits of discarded food lie everywhere. Furniture is perhaps once of fine quality. Blah, blah, blah. Set into the back of the wall in one corner is a hulking wooden cabinet. Sturdy legs. The toad-like creature is Lorna Blightstraw. She is joined by 2 of her Lornlings. Lorna has not submerged herself in her preservation pool in some time, and her skin is brittle. Okay, so this is kind of the narrative purpose for it. It's not working. She's been warned about intruders. She fixes her bulging eyes on the characters as they come into view. What act of desperation compels you to enter my home, little darlings? Begs for advice on how to run an encounter with the hag. Keeping in mind the rules of hospitality, ownership, and reciprocity to which she adheres. It's an iron key, which unlocks B19. The tall, slender figure in black is Charm, who works for Endlin Moongrave as a thief, but poses as a traveling merchant. She's gossiping with Lorna about the hag's sisters, Endlin and Skabatha. The conversation is a distraction, buying time for Charm's shadow to perpetrate a heist in area B19. Okay. A passive wisdom score of 13 or higher. Notice the black-clad figure doesn't cast a shadow. Ooh, okay. So there's a character that gets introduced in the carnival named Eliwick. Eliwick Tumblestrum, I believe. But they currently know her as Eliwick. So actually, what room is this? This is study. So this Charm character, sure, fine, whatever. But I think we're going to replace them with Eliwick. Replace Charm with Eliwick. So she's kind of, I think she's technically like a planeswalker from Magic's like lore, but she plays kind of like this Bombadil-esque role in the carnival where she like encourages the characters to go to the carnival, but then bafflingly never reappears again. She was a big reason that the characters ended up here in the Feywild right now is because they talked to Eliwick. And so I wanted to make sure that she keeps coming back and is helping them. That she's essentially trying to restore Zybilna, the Archfey, to her throne in the Feywild. So she's kind of this like, you know, mover and shaker in the background. So there's something that she's stealing here. Eliwick. That furthers her agenda. We'll have to figure out what it is. Perpetrate a heist in area B19. What is she trying to steal? Notice the black-clad figure doesn't cast a shadow. This is not a trait that Darklings possess, but rather a result of Edelin's using her scissors of shadow snipping to cut loose Charm's shadow and transform it into a separate creature. Okay. Dealing with Lorna. Before she'll agree to help the characters anyway. So this is why the preservation pool is messed up. Okay. Fix the preservation pool. Won't fill with water. It seems the well has that supplies it is plugged. Lorna wants the characters to fix the problem. If the characters are already defeated, have already defeated the creature that was plugging the well, she considers the truck plate. So I want to make this a little bit clearer. I think the preservation pool is gross and stagnant. No longer, clearly no longer working. It smells bad, clearly no longer working. It smells bad. There's flies. It's obviously gross and fouled. Yeah. Like the gelatinous cylinder is still in there, right? But it's more clear, it's clearer, excuse me, that the pool has gone bad, because that makes it like you see it like, oh yuck, who would keep this? You talk to her later and she's like, yeah, it's fucked up. I don't know why it's that way. It's just cleaner. Find the missing book. Lorna's big book of bad blood has gone missing. It contains copious notes on everyone who has wronged her. She assumes the book hasn't been taken far and wants the characters to search downfall for it. If I dealt with Gullup and are returning the book to Lorna, she considers this chore complete. Pick up a package. See, this is the thing, is it feels like, again, it's this bad structure. If they had said, like, hey, Lorna is meant to be a character you make a deal with rather than fight, right? Then you present that early, right? And say, this is what the plot with the book is. This is what the plot with the pool is. This is what the plot with the package is. So, preserving the pool is fine. We're going to say... find Sir Talavar. And ensure he doesn't betray Zybilna's secret. To the summer court. But that's already done. They've already freed him, so that they're kind of already, they have to sort of lie their way out of that, which I kind of like, right? That it's the chickens coming home to roost for their previous choices. When all 3 chores are complete, she insists on taking a short rest in her preservation pool to moisten her skin. While the characters are busy performing one or more of Lorna's unfinished chores, the Darkling Elder and her elusive shadow find what they were after and return to their balloon. The Darklings then unmoor their balloon and drift away towards Yon. The Darklings escape. The characters might encounter them again in Chapter 4. If you use the lost things, the story tracker indicates that Lorna has one or more of their things in her possession the characters desire. She agrees to give them their items on one condition. She wants the characters to steal a portrait of her older sister Skabatha and deliver it to Lorna's cottage within 8 days. Lorna provides 3 pieces of information before spitting into her hand and requiring the characters to shake it, thus sealing the bargain. Loomlurch is a giant, hollowed-out tree deep beneath the forests of Thither. Skabatha uses it as a lair. Skabatha's portrait is displayed in a circular room in the heart of Loomlurch, alongside portraits of her 3 sisters. Lorna, Edelin, and Tasha. Won't add anything about Tasha if the characters press for information about her. To reach Thither, the characters need a guide. There's a scarecrow in Downfall who knows the way. She can't remember the scarecrow's name. Skabatha's portrait is brought to Lorna on time. The hag fulfills her end of the bargain. Yeah. But it's like, she agreed to help the characters anyway. So what do they need from her, right? Because they're there to steal the book, right? God, yeah, this is so confused. Why are they asking her for help? Like, there's no justification in the story, in the adventure as written here, why you're even going to go see Lorna. Like, what does Lorna have to offer you that you need, right? And here they have, like, the Lost Things adventure hook, but that's not the adventure hook I used. It's all about the carnival. So they need to get a guide. And so Lorna is just an obstacle, right? Yeah. She asks them, replace charm with Eliwick. Let's do Lorna's chores. Lorna's tasks are these. Lorna's tasks are these. Finds Sir Talavar, ensure he doesn't betray Zybilna's secret to the summer court. I like that, because they can't do that one. Restore the preservation pool. And then just do the painting. Recover a painting. a painting from Skabatha in thither. Yeah. So then she might even provide them with a guide. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. If she provides them with a guide, it's Clapperclaw, who's actually, yeah, it's Clapperclaw the Scarecrow. Okay, that's fine. Brought to Lorna on time. Her act fulfills her end of the bargain. The characters failed to deliver Skabatha's portrait within the agreed upon time. Each character who agreed on the bargain must succeed on a DC Christmas saving throw or be cursed. Loses one cherished possession chosen by you. Their possession disappears and is not regained until the curse ends. She can end the curse on a character, no action required, as can any spell that ends a curse. We didn't do Warlock's quest. Feels threatened or fight turns against her. She flees to thither on her bobbing lily pad and reluctantly takes refuge with her older sister Skabatha. Has no option but to fight. She doesn't hesitate to swallow one of the characters. Ugh. If she's later forced to regurgitate the character, she also expels a tiny iron key. I want to see how she works mechanically, because it seems like swallowing is a big deal. Bavlorna Blightstraw. Ugh. Sure, there's a lily pad, though. That's cool. Bavlorna Blightstraw. Younger than Skabatha and older than, let's read her stats. Wittershin's allergy. If a creature within 10 feet of Bavlorna uses at least 10 feet of movement to run in place counterclockwise. Have you found anything about the Snake Dad? Hey, good memory, Nuker Wolf. Yeah, they have kind of forgotten about Snake Dad. They have the Snake Dad with them, Sumac, the Python, but they haven't really done much with him. I'm trying to figure, I don't really know what the story with the Snake Dad is. He presumably made a bargain with one of the hags. It could be with Bavlorna, right? So maybe she recognizes him? Yeah, let's do that. Let's not save ideas. Let's say that Bavlorna recognizes Sumac and explains. So what, okay, let me catch you up in case you're unfamiliar with who Snake Dad is. Even if you don't have Nuker Wolf's great memory from my previous streams. So one of the characters is a Yuan-Ti. One of the player characters is a Yuan-Ti, and they basically had a thing in their story where their father left when they were young, and they've not seen them since. So I came up with this long, complicated explanation that their father visited the Witchlight Carnival when it was on the material plane, and then when it packed everyone to the Feywild, they kind of like whisked him away, you know, sort of Peter Pan style. There was a whole big complicated plot where when it was like replaced with a copy, like someone who obviously wasn't him. The mother was suspicious of this person and shot them with a bow, and then they turned into leaves. And so then the leaves she collected the leaves and saved them for 8 years until such time as Snake Dad, was what they called you in prison, held the leaves for 8 years. And when the carnival returned again, she brought the leaves back into the carnival, or had one of the PCs bring the leaves back into the carnival, hoping that the magic would transform them back into her actual husband, Sumac. And that didn't work. Instead, it turned him into a python, right? The leaves turned into a python that had the same kind of coloration as her father. And so in some way, he has made some kind of a weird bargain, presumably during his 8-year period in the Feywild, that meant that he can't turn back into himself. So the characters currently have Sumac the python, but they don't know where her real father is, right? So maybe we make a point about Bavlorna having made a pact with him to do something. I mean, it could have been as simple as, like, if she has the Hall of Illusions mirror, right? It could have been as simple as, like, hey, I will transport you back to the material plane. So when he was pulled into the Feywild, Sumac fled the carnival and went seeking a means to return to the material plane. So it can't have been Zybilna. Zybilna turned him away. For whatever reason. And instead, he was forced to seek out the hags. Approaching Bavlorna, he offered her what? Like, if she's a taxidermist, it feels like snake parts might be valuable, right? Like, I mean, you could take the elf thing and have it be their heart, right? Or his heart. But if he's currently a snake, then, like, what did he offer her that is keeping him, like, basically his human or his Yuan-Ti shape, right? He offered her something in exchange. Forced to seek out the hags. Working with Lorna, he offered her something dear in exchange. Dear in exchange. Something, I mean, like his humanity, right? That kept him transformed as a snake. She took his humanity and instead she traps him in the form of a snake, right? So I don't necessarily know that he offers her his humanity. I like the idea that he like it's very Feywild to have a deal that goes backwards, right? That kind of splashes back on you. So he's forced to seek out the hags to make a deal. He needed to do something that he failed to do, right? Maybe he failed to recover this painting, right? She wanted a painting. She wanted a painting recovered. The painting recovered from Skabatha. Skabatha. He failed to claim the painting, you know, in 8 years' time. And thus she cursed him to remain a python, or like a year and a day or something, within the time frame. Thus, she cursed him to become a snake, to remain a python. He wanted the painting recovered from Skabatha. She transformed him into a snake. To recover the painting. Maybe it's a thing where, like, I don't know much about Skabatha, but maybe it's like a thing where she turned him into a snake and then Skabatha caught him and trapped him in the snake form, and that's why he's stuck in this form. So Skabatha is the actual one who can free him, but it was, I mean, maybe Lorna can lift the spell, but why would she do it unless, yeah, there we go. There's a snake to sneak into, in order to sneak into Loom Lurch and steal the painting. Steal the painting. Sneak into Loom Lurch and steal the painting. He was caught. Okay. He was caught by Skabatha and transformed and like trapped in his snake form. Yes, Hunter Fox, this is Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Yep. It's very, very different. I'd made this dumb mistake where I started the campaign before the book had come out, and so all my hooks and all my setup is very different from the one presented in the text, so I'm having to kind of like kit bash it backwards. But yeah, it's Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Yep. He was trapped by Skabatha. He was caught by Skabatha and trapped in his snake form. Lorna can lift the curse, but only if they recover it. But only if they recover the painting. If they recover the painting for her. I don't know why she wants the painting so bad. Probably the book won't tell me. Great, that's excellent. Thank you for bringing that up, Nuker Wolf. I think I was getting a little too focused on the printed story and less on like what is actually happening with my players. So where are we? I wish they would talk about why that painting is important. Charms, the Darkling Elder. Portrait of her older sister Skabatha and delivered to Lorna's cottage within 8 days. Potion cabinet. The cabinet in the corner is made of wood that is still covered with bark and patches of moss. This is the one they come underneath, right, when they shrink down. Bev Lorna swallowed the key for safekeeping, but it can regurgitate it as needed. Can use an action and thieves' tools to try to pick the lock, doing so with a successful DC 15 dexterity. The bottom shelf holds 3 magic potions with labels in Elvish. Shrink, grow, vanish. The top shelf holds a stuffed cat that shambles to life when the cabinet is opened. Formerly belonged to Bev Lorna's sister, Endolin. She suspects Bev Lorna stole the cat, but has no proof. The cat Gloam is hostile toward all creatures except Bev Lorna. It uses the cat stat blocked, except it is an undead, has immunity to poison damage, and immune to exhaustion in the poison condition. On its first turn in combat. It's definitely gotta be one of those, like, horrible, like, I want all of her taxidermies to look really bad, right? She's not good at it, because I think that's extra creepy, right? Okay. The door is barred on the other side. The character can use an action to try to force open the door. Secret passage. Aviary. Ooh, taxidermy birds to send and receive messages from her coven sisters. The word thither is scrawled above the window. The east balcony, the word yawn is scrawled above the window to the north balcony. Messages meant for a particular sister are sent from the corresponding balcony. On the pedestals are cages that hold 7 birds, each of which has the head of one avian species and the body of another. Ooh, yuck. Meat locker. Right, this has got the frozen heart. This room is freezing. Chunks of frozen meat dangle from the ceiling on hooks and chains. A small, frost-covered wooden coffer sits in the middle of the floor. The cold seems to be radiating from it. The cold isn't likely to harm the characters unless they spend an hour or more in the room, in which case the rules for extreme cold apply. The wooden coffer is frozen shut, but can be pried open. The still beating heart of an elf called Octavian Meliamne. I don't know why that would... Okay. That's again, this one still seems the most random to me. The kitchen. Gore spattered. Oh, sure, this is B13. The small figure is a female redcap named Bloody Toes. She was carving up some meat when 2 vultures flew in through the window. Doesn't bother or alarm her. In fact, she asked the characters to help getting rid of the vultures. Serves Bev Lorna as a chef and butcher. The hag has forbidden the redcap from attacking or murdering guests, so Bloody Toes fights only in self-defense. Redcap despises everyone and everything, but she hates Bev Lorna most of all. Reveals that Bev Lorna has a weakness. She is allergic to seeing anyone run widdershins in tight counterclockwise circles near her. Such a sight causes the hag to sneeze uncontrollably. That's so silly. Oh, we were looking at her stats, and then we got distracted. That's okay. Characters are... yeah, right, so the cages. This is where the head or whatever would be. The characters are offered to Bev Lorna as prisoners. They are locked up here. 3 large iron cages hang from wooden beams that extend out from this balcony over the lake below. Used to store soon-to-be butchered meat. Each cage can hold up to 2 medium creatures. And each beam can be hoisted up over the balcony using a crank. A satyr is trapped in one of the cells. He's not wearing any clothes. Weird. Stole his clothes while he was bathing. When he chased them, he ended up trapped in a net, was brought to Bev Lorna. He's in good spirits despite his current situation, believing everything will work out. He'll have quite a story to tell afterwards. If the characters release him, he searches the kitchen for something to wear and finds a grease-stained tablecloth he can use as a robe. He also finds a bottle of wine and guzzles it down. Stays close to the rescuers until he's clear of Bev Lorna's cottage, at which point he thanks the characters and bids them adieu. Remembering the rule of reciprocity, he picks up a stick, whispers to it, and hands it to one of the characters. If the characters accept the gift, the tiny flower blooms at one end of the stick, till the flower falls off 24 hours later. The stick has the properties of Stone of Good Luck. Very weird. Okay. Oh yeah, the Campestry, right? The singing mushrooms. Yeah. Pink snouts, toads, small birds, onions, cooking instruments. Dining room. 2 exits, large wooden plaque with severed goblin head with his mouth agape. Yikes. Chandelier hangs over the table. 2 of Bev Lorna's lornlings hide in the mouth of the severed goblin heads. Ugh. They seem very small. Quicklings. Oh, sure, because they're quicklings. They're very tiny. Yeah. These lornlings know that Bev Lorna has a magic mirror that can transport creatures to the Witchlight Carnival, and they trade this information. So, okay, yeah. So they've heard Bandersnatch, sure. Oh, but they can't remember or pronounce the words accurately. Blunder Scratch, Bangle Stash, Banter Catch, Bandy Crasher. That's fun. I like that too. Hooch Distillery. Hooch! Distills her supply of mushroom-based alcohol here. Still structural integrity is on the brink of failure. Any character that serves the still. Ooh, it explodes, blowing up the glass window and leaving the barrels intact. I like that. That's cool. Her bedroom. Ball of light bobs near the rafters, casting shadows over the room. Rumpled and moldering rugs share floor space with food scraps. A bed that occupies one corner of the room has a pile of straw in place of a mattress. The ball of lighting floating near the 20-foot-high ceiling is a will-o-wisp, which drifts down towards the characters. Attacks only if they try to remove the chest or any of its contents. Nothing made for her. She has adjusted them to fit her toadish form. East door. There are 4 dead plants and tipped over pots. Each one has a twig blight with a speed of 0 feet because it is rooted to the pot. Are thirsty but unable to reach the watering can resting on the chest of drawers. So the characters help the twig blights by standing them up and watering them. One of them pulls a black enameled iron key out of the dirt pot and gives it to the characters. Interesting. The padlocked chest has clawed iron feet and the initials BB rudely carved onto its lid. Takes 1 minute to open. A 12-inch tall marionette that she stole from Edelin. It has faces on opposite sides of its head. Okay. An unpunched ticket to the Witchlight Carnival, signed by Isolde, the carnival's original owner. 3 spell scrolls of Identify tied together with a lute string. Ooh, is there something about the ticket? Is that another way to get to the carnival, potentially? Oh, we gotta go back one. Oh no, actually we're gonna go to, what room is this? B18, her bedroom. We have Lorna's bedroom. The ticket in the trunk could potentially be used to summon the carnival. An unpunched ticket from the Witchlight Carnival. Bavlorna's hoard. The door to this room is locked. Bavlorna has the key on her person. So this is the one they're trying to rob, right? The characters might have a key as well if they acquired one from the Awakened Tree on Ptolemy Hill or Bavlorna. It's an action. A character using thieves' tools can try to pick the door's lock. Blah, blah, blah. Musty room looks like a miser's attic. Lying in tall heaps are discarded blankets. A few oddities, including a stag's skull hanging on one wall. Sure, a white porcelain jar with chicken legs standing on a table. A fancy helmet placed on a faceless head of a wooden mannequin. A weak croaking sound calls you into a tiny shriveled figure lying on the floor. It was killed by the shadow of the Darkling Elder. The shadow has detached from the Darkling and roams freely. Shadow is a fae, not an undead. Tries to slip past the characters into area B18 using its amorphous trait to slip underneath the door if a character closes it. It then moves onto the balcony, jumps in the lake. What is it trying to steal? Covets a spool of thread and has sent Charm to steal it. The thread is the color of frustration and self-doubt as perceived by the beholder, meaning that each creature sees the thread's color as the hue it associates most with those emotions. And it confers these feelings on anyone who wears garments sewn with it. Even touching the thread evokes these negative emotions. Interesting. Okay. Bavlorna's treasure hoard contains worthless junk and the following special objects. The stag's skull is Clapperclaw's missing head. A porcelain jar made of varnished white clay rests on a wooden table. The jar has legs that have been painted to look like the legs of a chicken. Is a wishbone. Characters touch the 2 pieces together. They hear Bavlorna's voice in their head say, Skabatha forgets the first creature she sees when she wakes up, although her memory of it returns each night when she sleeps. She forgot about Skabatha. Okay, so it's like the thing that's cursed Skabatha. Interesting. Okay. A wooden mannequin wears the helm of telepathy. Animates and tries to get the helm back by attacking whoever has it. The mannequin uses the animated armor, but has the stature of 15. Reacquires the helm. The mannequin dons the helm and reverts to its inanimate state. Okay. Bronze frog statue. Feels the inside of the gaping mouth, allowing no light to enter. Sure, so it's like a what are they called? Sphere of Annihilation. The creature reaches the statue's mouth. Read the following box text addressing that character's player. Your limb disappears into the darkness, and it feels as though your fingers are pushing through cool mud with eels swimming through it. Ugh. Say the words they desire. Is in the extra-dimensional space. Materializes in the character's hand. If using the Lost Things adventure hook, and Bavlorna has turned one or more of the character's long-lost possessions into magic items. Interesting. But so it's just the Lost Things adventure hook. If the desired thing is in the extra-dimensional space, it materializes in the character's hand. Huh. Weird. That just destroy extra-dimensional space collapses. But what's inside there? Follow Charm's shadow on its escape attempt. It leads them to the stairs under Bavlorna's cottage. Duckling Elder in a shadow. Escapes with a spool of thread. Like, the problem with it being so whimsical is that, like, you sometimes get stuff like this where, again, it's like, I'm not using that hook, so then what is the point of this space, right? If it was this thing where, like, you could summon almost any item to you, okay, great, right? But that's not what it is. It's just a weird extra dimensional space, and there's not a list of the things that are in there, right? Yeah, crazy. If Charm escapes with a spool of thread, the characters can use it as an enticement in their negotiations with Bavlorna, offering to retrieve it. If the characters thwart Charm's shadow and prevent the Darkling Elder's escape, Bavlorna attacks the Darkling Elder and tries to swallow her. So the question is, if Eliwick is trying to steal that thread, then that has to be something valuable. What is she trying to steal? The thread is interesting, but I don't know that that's like... It has to in some way be related to freeing Zybilna. So we have about like 20 minutes. I want to see if we can like do a little bit of backfill here and like figure out what Zybilna's deal is. So Zybilna is like trapped in this temporal stasis. Like her palace is frozen in time thanks to this cauldron, right? Yeah, it's the horn. So with a unicorn horn while speaking to her true name, Natasha, because she's got 1,000 names. He's shattering the cauldron, touching Iglo's cauldron with a unicorn horn while reciting a poem called The Witch Queen's Cauldron, or touching her with it and speaking her true name. Okay. Got it. So she's trying to steal, not the unicorn horn, because maybe she doesn't know where it is. She's trying to steal the bronze frog. The bronze frog. This allows the user to stick their hand in the mouth and summon and speak a word, bringing the item instantly to them. Instantly to them if it's contained within the domain. Right, so if it's in hither, it will come to her. If she's in thither, it will come to her, but only if it's in that same space, right? Rather than a shadow, she uses her albino frog, then a shadow. Well, maybe she does use a shadow. I think that's kind of interesting. She's made a deal with Skabatha to detach her shadow. Yeah, I think that's cool. Okay. So it gives the frog some purpose. Like, the thread's interesting, but, you know, who cares? And now, inevitably, when we get to thither and Skabatha, the thread is going to be really narratively important or whatever. Okay, cool. So I think that's pretty much it. It's mostly the same. The main thing I'm changing is I'm focusing it a little bit more on Wigglewog, this character they already know, rather than Clapperclaw. But Clapperclaw can still exist, potentially, as Bavlorna's guide. So the party arrives in Downfall, which we might change the name of, right? Sogbottom or whatever. They arrive in Sogbottom, and they discover Wigglewog's head on a spike and Wigglewog's body in prison. They are tasked by Bavlorna, or they are tasked by the king to steal Bavlorna's Book of Bad Blood. They go into her place, and he says that if they do that, he will let Wigglewog go, and Wigglewog can guide them into thither. They go into Bavlorna's place, and they can either steal it, or they can deal with her, right? Ooh, where is the book, then? That's a great question. Where would they find the book? Let me go back and look. Because it could be in her hoard. I think that makes sense. Yeah, let's just assume that it's in the hoard. Bavlorna's hoard. Her Book of Bad Blood is stashed here. I kind of want to put it somewhere else, actually. I don't think she has a library or anything. Does she? No. Book. Yeah. Yeah, it's not here. Okay, so we'll find a place. Maybe it's like in her bedroom or something. Is that either here or in her bedroom? Either here or in her bedroom. Or in her bedroom. Okay. So then they can choose to either steal the book, or they could choose to make a deal with Lorna as well if they kind of avoid her as they explore, right? Yeah, I think that's cool. I'm into all of that. And then from there, they can either like free Wiggle Wog and get back and then go to thither, potentially in the balloon, or they can make a deal with Lorna and go to thither kind of under her auspices. But then they have like 8 days to go and get the painting and come back. Right? Yeah, I dig that. Okay, cool. All right, everybody. I think that's where we're going to call it. We got about 15 minutes left, but I might end early because I think that's about as much. Yeah, and the nightstand is kind of what I was thinking, Nuclear Wolf. That's cool. Possibly on her nightstand. Cool. Thanks, Nuclear Wolf. Thanks for coming, everyone. This has been the Adventure Prep stream. It was nice to see so many people here in the chat. Shout out to Hunter and Alan and Nuclear Wolf and David for coming and hanging with me today. We will be back on Thursday with a monster design stream at 2 p.m. We're talking about the Cambion this week, I believe, which might be a shorter one because there's not as much to do there. But I'm curious to see like what we can iterate on with that monster because it's not one of my favorites. If you like our content, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video. That really goes a long way towards helping other people see it. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at ProDM Timothy. We have a Patreon. We have a Discord. We have a lot of other areas that you can come and hang out with me and the small little community that I have. We'll be back on Thursday with a stream. It does occur to me that we will not be here Saturday, that I have planned Saturday, so there will be no Sea of Thieves stream this Saturday. But then Sunday, and also nothing on Sunday either because I have a game. Shoot. So it'll be Thursday, but then a little while. Then it'll be Tuesday again before we're back with another stream. But great, thank you so much for coming, everyone. I will let you know how all of this goes. I'm curious to see how much of all of this content in Downfall that they actually engage with. Hunter Fox, you were great. These ones get a little bit, I worry that they're boring because I kind of just sit here and read the text and analyze it. It's almost more like a reaction video, right, than it is like an actual adventure prep. Because when you're running a module, right, it's just about what do you want to keep and what do you want to change. And like, again, as much as I think I give Witchlight a lot of shit, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's poorly structured and it's hard to read, right? There's a lot of good material here. I would say it's maybe a little too whimsical for my tastes, but because I'm running for kids, that makes it a lot easier. Although what's interesting is I think like in some ways it's good for kids, but I actually kind of think that Witchlight would work better for adults trying to sort of ape, what kids' stories are like. I think kids want to be adults. They don't really want to play with kids stuff, right? So kids are going to have more fun with like, epic quests and stuff like that. Whereas adults kind of want to fantasize about being young again, if that makes sense. That's my weird theory. But they're having fun. It's not like they're having a bad time. It's just, it's so weird and out there that the kids don't really like that element of it. It needs to be, things need to be a little bit straighter and more linear, It's one thing if the characters create chaos. It's another thing if the plot has too much chaos in it. I think that players tend to kind of rebel against that. But anyway, all that's beside the point. Thanks for coming and watching. I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy adventuring.